What up, everybody? You're now tuned into Jaguars Daily. I'm your host, Brandon Lampley, back today with another video. And tonight is the night. NFL draft is here. Starts at 8 o'clock, first round only. Man, this is very, very, very shameless of them to extend the draft into 3 days. They didn't have to do it, but everything's about money. Everything's a money grab. So they'll do the first round tonight. I think second and third Friday night, and then fourth through the seventh Saturday night or Saturday day or whatever. So yeah, so now it's a 3-day event instead of a 2-day event. I mean, there was a time where it wasn't televised at all. You just found out who your team drafted. So, I mean, it has turned into this whole big thing. But this I guess the lack of great prospects, especially quarterbacks, because quarterbacks create a lot of buzz. When you don't have a ton of quarterbacks, it's kind of that's been the last 2 years. The quarterback class of the last 2 years have been just this draft overall. Hearing more and more about how this draft doesn't stack up well against past drafts, and it's one of the worst drafts, in the last decade or so. They ranked towards the bottom, but that's on paper and that's on the surface. All of that can change, once their careers start, and guys start to make a name for themselves, and the draft could end up being better than people thought. But on the surface right now, it doesn't seem like people agree that. It seems like people agree that this isn't a great draft, and just looking at it, it's not the best. It's not the best. That in the last decade, I can think of a couple drafts that are probably better than this draft, but that's just on the surface. They haven't played yet, so we don't know. There are a few scenarios where Jacksonville will be able to trade up that I'm going to go over. We're going to talk about their priority, and I think defensive tackle is that priority. And then what's all this talk about running back? Where does that come from? Where does that come from? So we're going to talk about that, and the news and rumor mill just is starting to churn, as far as that. So I don't know, but the answer is no. The short answer is no. But yeah, well, we're going to see these guys. Their life is going to change this weekend. New face, new place, a chance to change their family, change the trajectory of their life, change their lineage, all that good stuff. I think Jacksonville has an opportunity to come out of this draft with at least four to five young men who can come in and contribute right away. Not be starters, of course, not necessarily be starters, unless they absolutely had to. But we're talking about a couple guys who are going to come in and be able to contribute in one way or another, whether that's through special teams or through the rotation. So that's what I expect, because where they're picking in the middle of the draft, got a lot of quality players in there. So some positions have them more than others. Like say edge, for example. Like the edge class is deep, defensive tackle class is not. So there's a lot of scenarios going back and forth about what's going to be done, and also teams trying to trade out of the top 10. So that is something to look for this evening as well. Nobody I would say, hear more and more about people not wanting to, pick in the top half of this draft or in the first round. Guys, they're trying to get out of the top 10, trying to get out of that top 15 and trade back because, trying to get capital for next year. And I'm not trading up. I'm not trading nothing from 2027. Maybe a late pick, but in my first 4 to 5 picks, I wouldn't part with not a single 2027 draft pick, not a single one. In rounds 1 through 5, the 6 and 7, okay, we could throw something together here or there, if the compensation is right. But as far as 2027 is concerned, you're not getting nothing from me. As far as compensation, class is supposedly too good, too good. So that's why I say supposedly. But it is what it is. So we're gonna talk about trade scenarios. Trade scenarios. Will Jacksonville trade up into the first round? It's a great question. Great question. I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. I also highly doubt one of the reasons that people think they are going to trade up into the first round. And what is that reason, you may say? We'll talk about it shortly. But for as far as the scenarios I've seen, I haven't seen any that's worth trading up into the first round. Number one, you're gonna have to give up too much. At the very least, to go from 56 into the first round, you're giving up at least next year's first. Why? 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 Like, no, no, absolutely not. Mm-mm. No, at best, I can give you some a fourth or something, maybe a third, maybe. But I'm really not willing to part way with my 3 third rounders at this point. The 3 picks in the third round, I'm really not. I don't want to part with any of those. Barely want to part with any of the fourths, but for the right player, at the right in the right position at the right price, the trigger could be pulled. So one of those, I think personally, one of those is defensive tackle is a probability. Also, offensive lineman. Now, there's talk about running. Like I said, there's been talk about running back. There's also been talk about tight end at 56. I doubt it. I doubt a tight end at 56, man. I doubt a tight end at 56. Or going to trade up to get a tight end. No. The only scenarios I can see them trading up and for what position, what player. Say defensive tackle is one, edge is another. So if an edge that was supposed to go higher falls down the board, defensive tackle, he falls down the board like between 56 and I think what is the next pick? I think the next pick is like 81 or something like that. What by the time you pick at when you pick at 56, and then by the time you get to 81, there's a drop off at certain positions. So the priority should be to get them at 56 if that's what you want to do. So yeah. So let's talk about that position. Then we'll talk about the position that everybody's in a tizzy about and is seeing the game more steam. And I'm like, absolutely not. We're not going that route. We're not going to do it. We're definitely not going to do it. But yeah, let's talk about defensive tackle and how defensive tackle could be that priority at 56. And I think it's the priority at 56 because it's a thin class. It's not a loaded class. This is a class that after the first 4 to 5 guys, probably barely even that, but after those guys, it's a drop off. It's a drop off. It's a significant drop off after the first couple of prospects at that position. So as far as Jacksonville is concerned, if you can, the only trade up scenarios I can see is if there's one of those top guys fall down the board. So who are those top guys? Do you ask? So I'm going to tell you who those top guys are, at least who I would trade up for if they're in range. And so if they're in range, guys I would trade up for. I mean, I like Caleb Banks for sure. Some of these guys it's unrealistic because I don't know. Like say like a Cade McDonald from Ohio State. His first mid is too high. But if he falls to the top of the second round, it's something worth thinking about. It is. The same with Peter Woods. He's projected to go first late. He falls. That's another guy. I'll definitely do it. Let's see. Lee Hunter. Lee Hunter's there. He's second mid. So let's say, you get to pick 45, Lee Hunter's on the board, and you feel like you wouldn't, go he wouldn't be there at 56. And he's like all these other guys have gone before him. So hey, McDonald's off the board, Woods is off the board. And let's say somebody reached and took Dante Corleone from Cincinnati, he's gone. And but Lee Hunter's still sitting there. Caleb Banks is gone. And the rest of those guys, they're sitting there. What do? Do you just stand pat, or do you go get your guy? And it does make you think. It does make you think, because if you don't go get your guy, the options after that, man, is it's going to be a drop off. It's going to be a drop off. Now there are the likes of, say, like I talked about yesterday, a Dominique Orange, who I like. Daryl Jackson Jr. Looking at him, what's he projected to go? He's projected to go in the 4th round. So after Dominique Orange, there's a fall off, because Dominique Orange is projected to go in the 3rd. Or let's say, no, not even Dominique Orange, but let's say Dante Corleone. After him, everything else, it's a drop off. So I would go get those guys. If that's what they want to do as far as the trade up is concerned. I think they could stay at 56 and get defensive tackle. Yeah. I think they can stay there and get them. Some of these guys may be gone. Like Caden McDonald's, Peter Woods, Lee Hunter, Corleone. These guys all might be gone, but you still can get a guy like a Dominique Orange. You can still go get a guy later like a Grayson Halton from Oklahoma. So it's going to be a very interesting night to see where Jacksonville's priorities lie as far as that. How disappointed would some people be if they roll out pick 56? I think Paul Posluszny is supposed to announce pick 56. And they roll out there and go, with the 56th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Jennings Dunker, offensive tackle, guard, Iowa. Some people who are not going to like that, because offensive line is not sexy. People feel like defensive tackle is a more important position right at the moment, and it probably is. In my mind, it is. But if you got a guy who, especially if this is a guy you think can come in and contribute right away, they dropped their episode of The Hunt, and one of the things they asked, you think he'd come in and start right away? Who could they be talking about? At what position could they be talking about? They're not talking about quarterback. They're not talking about, I doubt they're talking about running back. They're not talking about wide receiver, corner, any of the defensive line positions, linebacker, safety, kicker, punter, tight end, basically tight end 2, which is essentially a starter, and offensive line. That's where when they pick those guys come in, they have a chance to crack the starting lineup. Tight end and offensive line. That without that, and that's with no injuries happening. When these injuries are going to happen. So if everybody's healthy, those are the only 2 positions that I can see where a guy can come in and start probably right away. So, but I'm gonna leave it right there. And what are we gonna get into now? Oh yes, this is what we're getting into right here. I'm gonna say this. No. Don't do it. Absolutely not. I would probably have a problem with this. Like I would have I would have certain feelings towards this for a long time if they did something like this. The only way that any of that goes away is if, they do this and the guy, we're talking about, we drafted Bijan Robinson or something like that. We got a Jahmyr Gibbs. Other than that, no. Trading up into the first round, Jacksonville has been linked to doing that. And one of the reasons why is going to get a running back in the first round, namely Jadarian Price. Yeah, Jadarian Price. Jadarian Price is a nice player. I said this. Jadarian Price is a nice player. A player that, and he still may go first round, but a player 15 years ago absolutely goes in the first round. Just off his talent alone. Even with him being the backup to Jeremiah Love, because he's projected to go in the second round, but trading up into the first round to go get Jadarian Price, has he rose up the boards that much? And even if he has, I'm not spending that kind of draft capital on the running back. We're talking about it's a short list of running backs I think are worth going to get, especially in the first round. I just named two of them, Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs. If they're not that, I'm just not doing it, man. I'm not doing it. You got Chris Rodriguez Jr., you have Bashal Tootin, LaQuint Allen, DJ Dallas, and then later on in the draft, you can go get you a guy like Katron Allen from Penn State. Emmett Johnson from Nebraska. So I don't know about that one, man. Also, Mike. Oh yeah, that's the one. Mike Washington Jr. from Arkansas. Now that's a guy that okay, they draft him. I'm like, okay, I'll take that. 6'1", 223, runs a 4.33, make guys miss. But he's projected to go in the third round. Perfect. Hey, you use one of those 3 third-round picks and you take him. Okay, I can deal with that. I can stomach that. I'm fine with that. But to trade up into the first round to go get Jadarian Price, absolutely not. No, and no again. I'm not doing it. So there's no scenario where I see that is, something that they should do. I don't think so. But it is what it is. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on all of my social medias. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate all of the new subscribers. Thanks for rocking with me. Shout out to my people on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Hey, rate your boy. Give me 5 stars. It's free. I appreciate you guys. I'm excited to see how this thing plays out. Also, James Gladstone is scheduled to speak after the first round, which is interesting because they don't have a first round pick. So, that helped fuel the trade rumors of trading up into the first because, why would you, speak after the first round and you didn't have a selection? So, there's also that. So we're going to keep our ear to the grindstone and our finger on the pulse to figure out what's going on and try to get you that information as quickly as possible. But for now, I think it's all smoke screen, and you truly don't know what these guys are going to do, which makes it a little bit more exciting than in years past because you knew what they needed to do and they usually did the opposite. So it kind of took the luster out of it because, for the most part, they're probably going to do the opposite of what I think they should do. And that's what they did. And that's why they pretty much had been an afterthought for a long, long time. But until next time, I'll talk to you guys later, man. Peace out.